Hey, welcome. Do that again in 75 minutes, please. Hey, how is everybody? Welcome. I'm so glad you all came. Awesome. I do have to say, my producer warned me this show was going to be kind of a tough sell. Yeah, especially, I mean, it's a very solemn time of year, I realize. We just finished the Jewish high holidays. Now we go right from the primary election insanity straight into the general, and now we have all the Supreme Court nomination angst, so I realize it's a very heavy moment. But here you all are for a Holocaust comedy. So yeah, congratulate yourselves on opting for some light escapism tonight. Very good, good on you. You may notice we're filming here tonight. I just want to thank our friends at Netflix for the special. Thank you, thanks. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
I know this lady's ready.
Yeah.
I've seen her sitting in the lobby since last night. She thought the show started the sundown before the date it said on her ticket. Okay, well, welcome everybody. So, Shmi Barry. That is a little Hebrew to start us off here tonight. Shmi is Hebrew, Barry is just my name. I actually know very little Hebrew. I don't want to mislead anyone about that right off the bat. Although I do remember another pretty fun word from my childhood. That word is mishpacha. Mishpacha means family, yeah? I learned that at drama camp, of all places, when they brought in a touring Israeli production of Dreamgirls. Yeah, you know, there's that part in Dreamgirls where Effie's had it. She's like, I am leaving this group, but her brother Cece says, oh no, girl, you have got to stay because we are a family, like a giant tree. Or as the Israeli Cece sang it, of course, Ananu mishpacha. You might need to understand for this story. Sorry, let me backtrack. My town was hugely Jewish. So they brought in visiting Israeli experts for like everything we studied. They did, and that summer at drama camp, the Israelis, they gave us their Dreamgirls, and we gave them our 12-year-old Jewish version of The Wiz. Oh, this is what passed in my town for a cultural exchange. So, I just got back from a pretty crazy trip, and yes, luckily just in time for the holidays if you're worried. Sorry, if any non-Jews in the audience tonight, your Jewish friends celebrated two very important holidays a couple weeks ago, which I would stop and explain, but let's be honest, are there any non-Jews here? Any boys, could you like wait? Yeah, yes, oh great, welcome! Oh, welcome, I'm so excited! Oh, good. So listen, I really do want you to feel absolutely welcome. I don't want you to worry this show's gonna be too like capital R religious. It's not at all. Membership in the tribe is not gonna be required to have a good time here tonight. Okay, yeah, if you like Bernie Sanders, you're Jewish enough. Yeah. And anyway, religiously non-Jews, we Jews are just like you in that we also really only celebrate 2 holidays a year, right? I mean, like what you do with your Christmas and your Easter, right? Or maybe Ramadan and Eid, maybe Holi and Diwali. So for Jews, the 2 big must-do greatest hits happened a couple weeks ago. They are Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Collectively, they're the high holidays. And between the two, the highest holiday is definitely Yom Kippur. That's serious, serious business. Like, I know completely secular Jews who took off work for Yom Kippur. Right. Yeah, not because they were going to temple though, right? Although some of them fasted. This fascinates me, people who still fast. Did any Jews here do that? Can we do one more show of hands, last one. Anyone who didn't eat all day on Yom Kippur, will you raise your hands? Unless you're anorexic and then just keep your hands down. But otherwise, okay, a couple of you still fasted for atonement. Us, that's wonderful. Fasting for atonement, how neat. But why? I mean, maybe you do still consider yourself capital R religious, some of you, some of us, which is beautiful, that's lovely. I'm just guessing you might not actually believe the capital R religion part about being religious at the end of the day, right? Well, because what's the basic religion of Judaism? They're like, why do we exist? Why are we on earth? That's religion, right? That's all religions. And isn't Judaism's beautiful answer, very beautiful answer to that question, a little more Hebrew alert, tikkun olam, which means to repair the world, thus paving the way for the coming of the Messiah, and then the reestablishment of God's earthly kingdom. I mean, isn't that a little Game of Thrones there, Khaleesi? Not just Judaism, all religions are like this, right? All sci-fi shows are like this for that matter, right? Like, I happen to love me some Supergirl. But if you tell me you fast once a year for the 14 Rao gods of Krypton, I'm gonna keep a seat between us at Comic-Con, right? So I'm thinking maybe it's more of a cultural thing that you keep fasting, some of you, some of us, which is also beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. It's tradition, right? You basically want to honor and continue the traditions of your ancestors, like the tradition of fasting on Yom Kippur, right? Or maybe it's the tradition of keeping kosher for Passover, or the tradition of entering into a childless homosexual union with your Dominican lover. No? Oh, shoot. You see what I did there? I asked about you and then I made it all about me. That's me. Oh. Well, good thing it's my show. So guys, I actually did just get back from a wild, wild trip that actually led me right here to the Y tonight because I happened to meet on this trip some pretty well-connected people who knew how badly I wanted to come back to New York and tell my story, and they worked something out with the Y to squeeze me in rep with their originally planned season opener for this brand new theater season on war and peace. And I'm so excited they squeezed me in as part of War and Peace. Even if I did have to make up some shit about this having anything to do with war, or peace, or theater. No, I'm really grateful, because listen, at this point in my career, I have realized that getting a play produced anywhere in New York, it requires a lot more. It's a minor miracle. I mean, it requires more than obvious talent and Harry Connick Jr. good looks, right? It requires friends in high places, and when you meet those friends in high places and they offer you a stage, I mean, any stage, I mean, even one in rep with the show whose platforms I don't use. This is a gift horse you just don't look in the mouth. So what was this trip? Okay, so I was supposed to be going to Budapest. This was for my brother Howard's wedding. This was not a destination wedding. No, Howard lives in Budapest. Howard has lived in Budapest for 20, 25 years, way before Hungary did its like right-word Trumpian lurch, right? This was back in the 90s. This was like when that whole mania expats in Prague thing was happening. Yeah, Howard looked ahead. He was like, oh, fuck Prague. I'm going to Budapest. I want a more authentic expat experience. Oh yeah, Howard's always been real savvy about shit like that. I mean, about being infinitely cooler than you. Me. Anyway, so Howard was marrying an Algerian woman. She was born in Algeria, she was raised in Paris, she went to school for some reason in Budapest. Also, we have to assume before Orban came to power, but you know what? I don't know. I'd never met her. No one in my family had met her, not in the whole 3 months they'd been dating when Howard called us this summer. Oh yeah. Yeah, my parents weren't thrilled. But you know, it never crossed my mind that they might be upset because Najwa was Arab. It didn't, I swear. No. We were always taught in my very liberal family, people are equal. Race is a construct. Stereotyping, that's hateful, right? So I just assumed my parents were upset, not because Najwa was Arab, right? Because Howard had sprung this whole wedding thing on us so fast. Well, my boyfriend Anthony, he did disagree with my assessment. He said, oh Barry, your parents are upset because Najwa's Arab. And oh, everybody, you should know this before we go on. When I do this, that's gonna be me being Anthony. My hip's gonna pop. It's like a Fosse moment. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. So I'm actually gonna be a lot of different people for you here tonight, but this is not what I'd call a Sarah Jones situation, if you know her work. This is not even a Tyler Perry situation, if you're more familiar with this. Yeah, what we have here is more of like a Russell Crowe Les Mis situation. Yeah, it's bad, it's code red, But here's the thing, I'm not an actor, I'm a writer. If this had not actually happened to me, no way would I be on the stage right now, but it did, and I have decided to tell it myself, and you should just be aware there is no equity asterisk next to my name. Okay. You should also be aware there are multiple accents coming. Some of them accidentally. So when Anthony says, oh Barry, your parents are upset Najwa's Arab, just know in real life he sounds a lot more authentically Dominican, although exactly this gay. Barry, your parents are upset because Najwa's Arab. Okay, Anthony, first of all, please don't call her that. But Barry, she is that. She's Arab. No, Najwa is Franco-Algerian. And my parents know that, and my parents don't care. Then how come when you mentioned her, your mother cried through the phone, please don't mention the Arab? You know, Barry, I never once before thought of us as an interracial couple, but ever since your brother got engaged, you've all gotten really, really Jewish. Wait, what's that supposed to mean? Just like everything's suddenly so political with you guys. You know, it's so black or white. Israel or Palestine. Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. Arab or Jewish. You know, Anthony, you keep saying Jewish like it's some kind of a bad thing. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I don't even think I meant to say you've all gotten really Jewish. I think I meant racist. You think we're racist now? Great. We who? My family or Jews? Anthony, you think all Jews are racist. Against who? Arabs? Oh, no, Barry. Franco-Algerians. Was he right? Like, were my family shtilkas about Najwa's race? So I called my mom to flat out ask her. I did. I said, Mom, are you upset that Howard's marrying a woman of Arab descent? Oh, Barry, how can you even ask me that? Of course I am. I have every right. My son is marrying a woman I've never met, halfway around the world, with a huge family in Algeria. So when he gets kicked out of Hungary like the rest of the Jews, like George Soros, he won't come home to the ho-hum pedestrian United States. Oh, no. They'll go open up an ashram together in Africa. Mom, that's unlikely. The ashrams are mostly in India because they are all Hindu. Oh, whatever, smarty pants. So they'll go open up a mosque. Why would they, Mom? She doesn't practice Islam. Okay, any more than Howard practices Judaism. I mean, you know neither one of them believes in religion at all. Oh, believes. Oh, you think your brother's not Jewish because he doesn't believe. Ask Hitler if he cared what you believed. Hitler looked at your nose, he slapped on a star, and he lit up the spit. Judaism's an ethnicity, it's your bloodline. And yes, you know what, I'm sorry if this makes me old-fashioned, but it is why I think Jews should marry Jews. Wow, so do you resent Anthony then, for being Dominican? Oh, Barry, of course I don't resent Anthony for being a man. Dominican. What do I know about Anthony? Although, you know what, since you're asking, no, maybe I don't see you two getting gay married. Your brother's getting married. Your brother might have kids, and with a Jewish wife, those kids would be born Jewish no matter what anyone believes. But when a Jew has children who aren't born Jewish, then aren't raised Jewish, probably won't even be taught what being Jewish is, isn't he killing Jews off? Isn't he basically finishing what Hitler started? Okay, Mom, I think bringing Hitler into this, it's getting a little histrionic. Hitler happened. I'm sorry that upsets you. No, it upsets me that you'd invoke him in a conversation that has nothing to do with the Holocaust. And somehow against Najwa? You know, she experiences so much worse discrimination than Howard in Hungary right now. Their rhetoric against Muslims, against immigrants. Oh, Barry, no one has it worse than the Jews. No one's ever had it worse than the Jews. Najwa has it worse in Hungary right now. The families getting separated on our border, I'd say they have it worse. The Palestinians in Israel, what, permanent second-class citizens now thanks to this new nationality law? Oh, other people have it bad. Even the Palestinians, I grant you, have got it bad. Jews have it worse. Only Jews have had a Holocaust. So can Israel use that Holocaust then to justify an apartheid law that literally gives special rights to Jews and discriminates against everyone else? Barry, don't criticize Israel. Never do that. They're in a fight to survive over there. We must always support them. No, Mom, I reject that. That's the tribalism that's poisoned all our politics. Oh, tribalism now. Oh, well, I've got news for you, kiddo. Your last name's Levi, as in Levi of the 12 tribes of Israel. You owe your existence to tribalism. And you know what? Doesn't every tribe come from a tribal homeland where they'll always feel safe? Huh? The Palestinians, they have the whole Arab world. Those Mexicans have Mexico. We descend from Israel. Mom, all your relatives are from Poland and Germany. Oh, well, then ask Poland and Germany why my grandparents were barred from citizenship, from property, from eating with Christians, let alone marrying them. Ask them why my father was lucky to lead with his life, huh? And without his family. We've been shuffled from country to country since countries existed. The Inquisition, ghettos, pogroms, and yes, I'm sorry, the Holocaust. We have been the victims throughout human history. We aren't the victims today, that's all I'm saying. Not in Hungary, not in Gaza, not on our own border. Oh, Barry, you know what? You've had it too easy. You don't know where this goes. Letting the world compare their traumas to ours? Letting them criticize us, letting them blame us when we get attacked? Oh, no. Maybe you're right, maybe I'm too scared to let them start, but you know what? If you had been raised by my father, you'd be scared too. First time we'd ever had that conversation. Really, Israel never came up in my family. Judaism barely came up in my family until Howard's wedding announcement coincided with all the crazy news this summer. I mean, that's what Anthony meant when he said this engagement had suddenly turned us all really Jewish. God, and Anthony, he heard that whole conversation. My mom screams through the phone, so he heard all of that. She said about me not mixing my bloodline, so us not getting gay married, because that would be helping Hitler. I mean, Anthony has nothing to do with Hitler. Neither does Howard's wedding. Do they? So I apologized to Anthony, of course, and I just tried to make him understand what it's like for Jews of my mother's generation, especially in places like Beechwood, Ohio. That's the drama camp place. That's where I grew up, Beechwood, Ohio. Beechwood is a lot like Muskogee, Brookline, Teaneck, Greenwich, except Beechwood's more so than any of them, okay? Because Beechwood is 9% Asian, 8% black, 1% Latino, and 80% Jewish. Oh, 80%. Schools don't just close for Rosh Hashanah like around these here parts. Oh, no. They close for fucking Simchat Torah. Okay? Oh, there's a mezuzah on every house in Beechwood. Don't matter who lives in it. Yeah, you grow up thinking Jewish is just the norm. It's just what everybody is. Oh, you know what minority means. Oh, sure, but that doesn't mean you. No, minority means you're Asian, or you're black, or you're Jennifer Vasquez. And yes, she was the one. And our parents found security in these like all Jewish enclaves, which I appreciate, I do, but I think they lost sight of how like successfully assimilated Jews largely are now, even outside of their modern shtetls. Like they hear about a Nazi running for Congress and think, oh no, it's still as bad out there in the big wide world as it was for our parents. You know, a pogrom awaits anyone who strays too far from the mall. I get it, Nazis running for Congress, this is terrifying. This terrifies me. We should all be terrified of Nazis running for Congress. It's especially terrifying in places like Beechwood, where everyone had a relative in the Holocaust. I don't know what camp my grandfather was in, he never talked about it. He's also a man who never talked about a lot of things, but I grew up knowing he lost his whole family. My whole life, that whole side of the tree was always just Gramps and Mom, and when he died, it was just Mom, so. And Spielberg's people actually came to interview my grandfather in the 90s. They were doing the Shoah documentary thing where they went around filming survivors, and Gramps was in a nursing home. He was in his 80s at the time. He was a little senile. He was a lot hard of hearing, but they came. The Shoah people came to the nursing home. They set up their cameras, and they sure asked him what he remembered about the Holocaust. And I'll never forget what my grandfather said. He grabbed my arm, and he turned to me, and he said, "Are they asking me about the Holocaust?" I said, "Yeah, Gramps, they want to know what you remember." And he said, "The Holocaust. People still believe in that? But that's just a story I cooked up with Satan." Obviously, that did not make the film. Anthony didn't really get that story at all, but you know what? He did try very hard to appreciate my mom's perspective on things. He said, "Okay, Barry, maybe what you're telling me is the Holocaust is part of what makes your mother feel Jewish?" Anthony, yes. I think you're onto something with this. Yes, I think for some families Jewish is klezmer, and for some families it's kugel, and for my family it's crippling victimization. Okay, but Barry, what do you think made your mother's family feel Jewish for the thousands of years before there was a Holocaust? Oh, Greek oppression, Roman destruction, Spanish Inquisition, and Russian pogroms. Okay, I think what I'm asking you is this though. No matter how safe or successful you are now, and no matter what discrimination might be faced by other groups now, will you still always consider yourself the biggest victim? I really don't like how you're bullying me right now. See? No, Anthony, I'm kidding. No, of course I'm not a victim. No, I'm not in 21st century America, I'm white, I'm male, I'm part of the most successful immigrant group in history. I know all this, I'm just trying to explain why my mother, okay, might have a sort of knee-jerk protectionist reaction to, but no, there's a difference between protectionist or whatever and prejudiced, okay? And BTW, your grandfather suffering something horrible 70 years ago does not give your family the right to treat someone else horrible today. Barry, the way they talk about your brother's fiance, when people like her have faced more discrimination, no, you know what? There's people right here in America, okay, who face more discrimination than you or your mother every day of the week. Okay, Muslims, Latinos, blacks, gays. Okay, yeah, but in my mom's defense, Anthony, none of that's really comparable. Not comparable? Wait, I'm sorry, you think you have a harder time getting a job? Or a cab? Or walking past a cop than I do? No, but I think no one ever killed 6 million of you. Oh. Well, your mother couldn't have said it better. I'm sorry. No, Anthony, you're right, I'm sorry. Of course we should not fight over whose experience of discrimination is worse. The fact that we're both from oppressed minorities is really something beautiful we should share. Oh, Barry, no. No more jokes. You know what? I don't think I can go with you to this wedding. Wait, what? No, I'm sorry. I don't think I can be around all of this, what, judgment or self-pity and what? Accept it? Ignore it? Okay, Anthony, you are totally overreacting right now. This is a wedding. Okay, this is a festive occasion. What is festive to you about hating the bride for her race? Do you get that? You know what? I'm sorry. This whole thing is starting to make me a little too uncomfortable. Wait, what whole thing? Anthony? The wedding? Or us? This is my first real boyfriend we're talking about. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't know if it matters. I mean, my first non-college, non-grinder. It took me a really long time to grow up. And this was it. My first time in love. It felt so ridiculous. It was ridiculous, right? I mean, to educated, progressive people, our ethnicities didn't matter to us, our genders didn't matter to us, but religion. In 2018, religion was really gonna come between us? And sorry, was it even religion, or was it just the Holocaust? You know what I mean? The way I learned to lean on it, the way my mother wields it like a barrier, like a bludgeon. And I don't know, maybe some of you agree with my mother on this, right? That this is why we shouldn't date outsiders. He'll never understand you, so just, forget it, move on. Find a nice Jewish boy. But I don't think we can afford to just ignore how other people see us. Not with those 6 white nationalists still running for Congress this November. And if the people closest to us can't appreciate our perspective on things, how do we expect total strangers to think about us who maybe never met a Jew before? In Arthur Jones's Illinois, or John Fitzgerald's California, or for that matter, Mahmoud Abbas's Palestine. We must communicate with those different from us, right? And what do we want that message to be? We are like you. We've suffered like you. We've survived like you. We've dreamed like you. Or we're separate and superior. Because our pain was worse, so our mistrust is greater. We say things like, how dare the New York Times compare those asylum camps to concentration camps? Or how dare the Palestinians compare a Gaza ghetto to the Warsaw ghetto? How dare Sean Spicer compare Bashar al-Assad to Hitler? Why do we have to make everything about our Holocaust being bigger? And I say we, knowing there's no such monolith. I know American Jews come in all shapes, sizes, political persuasions, and then there's all the other Jews all over the world. I know, but the Nazis don't care. So the Nazis were all my mother, so convinced our tribe is the most vulnerable, we'll stand by and watch while other tribes get harassed and hungry, or interned on our border, or shot at unarmed by our own fellow tribesmen. To the Nazis, we all use the Holocaust to preach exactly the wrong lesson. Never again to us. To the rest of you, it's no wonder so many of them don't want to hear about the Holocaust if they feel like we somehow use it to diminish them. It's no wonder more and more of them are so primed to call it fake news. And sorry, fake news. We don't have to go into fake news. I know it's everywhere. We're sick of fake news. I'll just say this about fake news. I wish the Holocaust was fake news. Can you imagine? Right? If the deniers were right and there had never been a Holocaust in the first place, to make us feel like our safety or our security were the only good reason to support a cause or a candidate or a foreign country's police state. Yeah, sure, crazy incel deniers. A world without the Holocaust. Yeah, sign me right on up for that. Oh, I know these are crazy evil people. These are crazy evil the deniers are crazy evil wackadoos. I know this. I'm just saying, just imagine for 1 second how much easier life would be, being Jewish would be, if they were right? And we didn't always feel like a tribe under constant threat, or like traitors for criticizing Israel, or like little Hitlers for loving goys. Just, if we could wish it away as easily as they do, I posted this on Facebook. After my fight with Anthony, I went right on Facebook and I was just like, does anybody else out there ever wish the Holocaust never happened? Do you know a lot of people wrote back yes? I know I wrote, because ever since the Holocaust, it's like impossible for us to engage with the world progressively because it keeps us perpetual victims, myopic with fear. A lot of people wrote back no, because then millions of people would not have died. They didn't get it. Because of the Holocaust, I'm losing my boyfriend. Who stopped speaking to me, by the way, for that little incident of who's the bigger victim. My mother also picked the same time to stop speaking to me for calling her a tribalist or whatever. On Facebook, a lot of people suddenly unfriended me. So one night, I was actually looking up plane tickets to Budapest, and I kind of Googled Holocaust denial, just totally curious, what their supposed facts are, how they possibly justify their inanity. Because news articles never tell you, have you noticed? Like a news article will say, so-and-so denies the Holocaust, but they never tell you how or why or what alternative facts these people offer up instead to, I don't know, explain World War II. And I get why. It's because we don't want to give these people a platform. I read that. We don't share their views because we don't want to give them a platform, and that makes sense. But look, these people are running for Congress. They're quoted in Breitbart. They are whistled to from our White House. The horse has left the stable, folks. These people have a platform. These people have several. And they're using their platforms at a time when 25% of American millennials and 50% of the world has never even heard of the Holocaust. And they're using their platforms to convince that other 50% that has heard of it that a major part of your identity is a lie. Sorry, our identity. Don't you think you need to know how they're doing that? Don't you think that's important? I did. So anyone ever heard of Arthur Butts? He is a tenured professor at Northwestern University. Yeah, he teaches electrical engineering. He's not allowed to even mention history in his classes, but he's there. He posts his email, his syllabus, his office hours, it's all online. Anyway, in 1976, this tenured professor at Northwestern University wrote a little book called The Hoax of the 20th Century. Oh yeah, about the Holocaust. This, I thought, is who I need to talk to. Right? Not some crazy politician that even the GOP disowns for spouting pure nonsense. No, a professor. Right? I mean, someone supposedly capable of a rational conversation, someone who might actually be able to explain to me how these twisted people think. So I emailed him. He wrote me back. He did. He invited me to Chicago to talk. He would not over email. A Northwestern address, school policy, threat of legal action, whatever. But if I was ever in Chicago, he said, I should feel free. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I went. Look, I had a week off coming up for Howard's wedding. What I did not have yet were those plane tickets, because Anthony had been vacillating, so we waited to book. And anyway, tickets to Budapest were now $1,000. But I saw United had this super cheap fare from Chicago to London. And from London, something standby to Hungary would be simple. I have a car, I had a friend in Chicago overdue for a visit. My friends all abhorred me, my relationship was fucked. So yeah, I went to Chicago. Now my friend's apartment is in Boys Town. Well, obvi. And I found this sports bar right in between all the gay stuff in the stadium. You know, there's some famous stadium. And when Butts wouldn't meet in his office, I suggested we meet at this sports bar. 2 reasons. 1, it was a public place. But 2, it was a straight one. You know, I was already terrified how this guy was going to treat me as a Jew. The last thing I needed him to know is that I was gay. I think you're the first queer I ever seen in this joint. Oh. Who, me? Oh, I don't know. Oh, kid, relax. I teach college in Chicago. I have seen my share of cocksuckers. I'm from the Bronx, for Christ's sake. I got no problem with you people. My nephew, in fact, is a cocksucker, and he makes more money than all 6 of his siblings put together. He takes care of my brother and my sister-in-law, so I don't gotta do it. By me, he is one fine fairy. What are you drinking? What are you having? I am enjoying a Beck's. You know, I think under the circumstances, I will choose something less German. Less German? Oh, I like that. You see, you're funny, you people. Funny gay people or funny Jews? Both! And holy hell, with your powers combined, kablamo! Imagine how much more money my cocksucking nephew would make if he were Jewish too. Oh, really, kid? I like Jews. Fine. Movies, bagels. World needs both. Okay, if you like Jews so much, why do you deny the Holocaust? Oh, deny it. I don't deny it. That's a media word. All right, look it. The Nazis came to power. They persecuted Jews. They put them into camps. They treated them like shit. Tons of them died. Who the fuck denies any of that? There's one thing I deny. No one ever tried to exterminate the Jews as a race, okay? No one tried to eradicate the Jewish people. This ain't the Hutu and the Tutsi, all right? That 6 million figure? Horseshit. Oh, even your Jewish historians have tossed that number, you know that? Oh no, sorry, they've revised it. Estimates by your own Jewish scholars now run as low as 4.5 million. And then in another couple years, they'll say 2 million. It's the incredible shrinking Holocaust, all right? And in a few more years, they'll say it's the same number I do. Okay, and that number is 300,000. There were more than that in the attic with Anne Frank. Now look it's like this, okay? Let's say you lose someone close to you in a concentration camp. You're a co-cocksucker maybe. You call, you report him missing to the Red Cross. I mean, presuming they cared about cocksuckers then, right? But here's the thing. Did he have a mother? Did she call and report him missing too? Uh-oh. Do we got 1 dead Jew now, or 2? I'm sure the researchers accounted for that. Okay, how do you know? Have you studied their methodology? I know there are lists of names, like distinct names at Yad Vashem in the museums, right? Names of Jews who went into the camps and never came out. Okay, let's say there are lists of names. Let's even say there's 6 million of them. Names of Jews. Who says they're all real? And if they are all real, who says they all died? Maybe they just moved to Brooklyn. Okay. Millions of Jews, they say died in the Holocaust, secretly moved to Brooklyn. Yes, they jumped at a chance to start their lives over. Because do you know what Jewish marriages were like in Old World Europe? It was all this medieval arranged, fuck through a hole in the sheet type of shit. It was terrible. So, most of the people, they say vanished after the war? They took advantage of the chaos to go underground to Brooklyn to escape their unwanted spouses. Wait. But do you know how ridiculous you sound right now? Do I sound ridiculous to you? Oh, well, do I sound more or less ridiculous to you than saying they were all shoved into giant ovens out of Hansel and Gretel while the world just watched?
Do I sound more or less ridiculous to you than taking an honest look around you at all the Jews there are and how powerful they are, and then you telling me that a third of their entire population was wiped out a couple decades ago? Okay, but we agree there were camps. Yeah, absolutely, where Jews died, tons of them. Death camps where Nazis sent Jews to die. Who said death camps now? They were prisons. How do you know what the Nazis intended to happen in there? Didn't we have internment camps here for our Japs? Don't we have them today at Guantanamo on our own border? Yeah, but those are completely different. Yeah, how? Like a million ways. Oh, a million ways! Rigorously argued. I'm obviously sitting here with an alumnus of speech and debate. No kidding. I'm not actually the expert either on the camp life, but you know who is. And you are going to London, aren't you, for a wedding or some shit? I'm going through London. I'm going to Budapest. Yeah, but you know who you gotta stop and talk to while you're in London? The world expert on those camps, on the whole Nazi war plan. David Irving. You heard of him? No, of course not. Just one of the most respected scholars on the planet. Why should anyone have heard of him in our fucking United States? You look him up in London, David Irving, and you tell him I sent you. Can you believe this bullshit? Millions of survivors on the down low in Brooklyn. Yeah. Although, you know, my friend Sean actually did do the 2010 census in Brooklyn Borough Park, which is like hugely orthodox. And anyway, he did say that whenever he knocked on their doors, no one would answer. Almost like maybe they didn't want anyone to know exactly how many of them there are. Of course, as I explained to Sean at the time, Jews have had plenty of reason throughout history to fear the census. I mean, considering what's happened every time someone has been like, hey Jews, raise your hands. So I will, you know what, I'll confess. I'll confess I did spend all that night just sort of obsessing about butts and his numbers. Well, just about like, you know, how do we know exactly how many people died, right? And how can we never hear any real disagreements about that firm 6 million total, you know? Just about like, what if the Holocaust, as horrible, as massive as we know it was, but what if it wasn't quite as cataclysmic a genocide as we think? You know what I mean? 6 million to 4.5 to 2 million even. I mean, would that matter? Would that change anything? So I went online to do some math. Okay, so in Myanmar, they have killed 50,000 Rohingya Muslims. Bashar al-Assad has slaughtered 60,000 Syrians. In South Sudan, 600,000 were killed in their recent genocide, plus another 250,000 since independence. In Rwanda, it was 800,000. Cambodians under Pol Pot, 1.5 million. Chinese in Nanking, that was just 300,000, but Armenians in World War I, there's another million, no matter what the Turkish government tells you. You know, they estimate that over 500 years of the Atlantic slave trade, between 15 and 40 million people lost their lives. Oh yeah, so let's average that. That would be a total of 28 million, or another 280,000 over any 5-year period, because we want to approximate the time frame of the Holocaust, right? Add all those genocide victims together. We're still not at 6 million. Okay, American Indians, 80 million killed over 400 years, or another 1 million in any 5-year span, and I completely forgot about Bosnia, sorry, so let's toss in the Srebrenica genocide for another 10,000, because why the hell not? Add it all up. It's 5,850,000 people. So more Jews were killed in just 5 years than in all those other genocides put together. What if there weren't? Just what if I could go home and make my mother conceive of, you know, a rich, a full, and empathetic Judaism that's just divorced from that, you know, isolating number? What if I could go home and tell Anthony, no, I don't feel like the biggest victim in the world after all? So in London, I did stop to talk to David Irving. I Googled him first, and some of you may have heard of him. He's the guy who sues Rachel Weisz in that movie Denial. And the rapper B.O.B. recently praised him on a track, if you like rap. And he just popped up as a source in a column Chris Kobach wrote on Breitbart. Chris Kobach is the current Republican nominee for governor of Kansas. So I met David Irving at a Covent Garden pub, where he ordered us 2 very sweet ciders and some crisps. And I opened by telling him, you know, how intrigued I had been by that guy Arthur Butts. Oh no, you were intrigued by that ignoramus? Oh, Arthur Butts, more like awful putz. You do know what a putz is, don't you? Yeah, I know the word putz, and I'm just kind of surprised to hear you say it. Oh, I love Yiddish. You know it's tragically a dying tongue. You people really ought to better preserve your heritage. Oh, okay. Color me confused. I assumed deniers were just going to hate all things Jewish. First of all, I'm a revisionist, not a denier. I investigate history, evidence, causality, politics. Don't let the media fool you, and don't let morons like Butts define me. Did he give you his underground bachelor's hiding in Brooklyn spiel? Yeah, you don't buy that theory? Am I an idiot? Not to cast aspersions on your American university system, but your author Butts is rather ill-informed for a professor, no? No. According to my research, a good 4 million Jews did, of course, die as a result of the war. Oh, okay, 4 million. Now, you know Yad Vashem says 6. Oh, yes, Yad Vashem. They don't account for the 2 million Jews who made it out of Germany before the war, who emigrated, yes, at the first whiff of trouble, to Czechoslovakia and to Poland. Wait, you think 2 million German Jews survived the war by moving to Czechoslovakia and Poland? Yes, precisely. But you know, Hitler annexed Czechoslovakia. Auschwitz is in Poland. How were 2 million Jews safe in Czechoslovakia and Poland? You wish to talk about Auschwitz then? What that was? What happened there? Because, you know, I have dedicated my professional life to that study. Have you? Well, good. Then the first thing to understand is Hitler did not instigate a world war so he could run around killing Jews. No, it's a ridiculous suggestion. It makes a mockery of the man's political genius. Oh, he hated Jews. Yes. He scapegoated them for Germany's economic ills. Yes, again. But what do we do when we scapegoat people? When we scapegoat immigrants? Well, when you scapegoat immigrants, you vote to leave the European Union. Yes, quite, to keep more immigrants from coming in. But what do we do to scapegoat the immigrants already in our country? What has Trump done to all of your Haitians and Hondurans on temporary protective status? He's kicked them out. You kicked your immigrants out, and Hitler wanted to kick his Jews out to Siberia. And we know this from his speech, 25 October 1941. We will relocate them to the marshy parts of Russia. Never did he say exterminate. I thought he famously talked about stamping out Judaism. Stamping out, yes. In German, that's a synonym for relocate. No. When I want to stamp out a spider, and my boyfriend says, oh, let's relocate the spider, that's 2 different fates for the spider. Well, we could argue over these mistranslations all day if you'd like, or we could look at the written record. Oh, no, wait. We have no written record of any order Hitler ever gave to kill Jews. We have records of all his other orders. We have records of his order to kill his own mentally ill German people. This man was not shy about writing down his ugly. And yet, not one single record remains of any order he ever gave to kill Jews. Why is that? Because that was never his intent. No, his intent was to protect Austria from Soviet invasion. I assume you've read about Stalin's menacing of Germany with communism, and his goal of taking over the West, and Hitler's appeals for aid to Churchill and to your Roosevelt. Well, I studied Roosevelt when we did presidents. Good. And what did you learn? Was his wife the lesbian? More germane to our topic, perhaps, is that had Roosevelt and Churchill heeded Hitler's warnings and come to his aid against Stalin, well, they would not have ended up with a communist East Germany, or a 50-year Cold War, or for that matter, a Vietnam. No, you see, Hitler knew Russia was the menace, and Jews he considered immigrant Russian sympathizers agitating for Russia within his own country. And you know, it remains wise today to worry about Russian agitators within one's country. So, in preparation for relocation, Hitler locked his Jews up. He interned them, and yes, the conditions were probably awful. Although, we cannot know for certain what they were like because they're all gone. Oh, all the camps you can tour today? Those are recreations. They're like little Holocaust villages at Epcot you can walk around and cry. Survivor testimony? No, we cannot rely on that. That's discounted. As a rule, your Jewish historians will tell you it's considered psychologically unreliable. They interviewed one survivor who claimed his time at Buchenwald was like being in a country club, complete with a swimming pool. Still, according to my interpretation of the available remaining evidence, due to camp mismanagement. Now that's overwork, that's starvation, that's largely illness. The Nazis may have inadvertently murdered as many as 4 million Jews. But that's not genocide. Do you see? There was no intentionality to it. There was no program in place designed to kill. Then why were there gas chambers? Were there gas chambers? Yes? Well, you know, I'm no engineer, but I know someone who is, with whom you really ought to speak should you have time. When are you needed in Budapest? End of the week? Fancy a short detour through Paris? You could meet with Robert Forreston there. He is a specialist in those gas chambers, and he is a bona fide engineer. I think maybe some people are starting to get a little uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm not that gullible. Bear with me a little longer, I promise. I'm not saying I believed David Irving, okay? I'm not saying that at all. What am I saying? You know what? In that moment, I didn't know what to believe. Because look, I don't speak German. I don't know all those texts he was quoting from. I don't happen to know every speech Hitler ever gave, right? I mean, do you? And I know, I can consult with other experts, right? The Rachel Weisses of the world, who would point me towards opposite translations for him, I'm sure. But you know what, in that moment, it was bothering me that in this age of know your primary sources, right? Either way, I'm taking someone else's word for something I don't know. And I know, I can have my media bias chart handy and my fake news infographic, but at the end of the day, how are any of us supposed to know anything anymore, you know? Parents, how are we teaching our kids to know? Because imagine a kid somewhere in the world typing into Google right now, where are their gas chambers? Some kid is probably doing this somewhere in the world right now, right? Where are their gas chambers, Google? What kind of answers do you think come up? Don't take out your phones. I will tell you, the first hit that comes up, it's no. So how do we want to teach that kid what answers she should believe if we don't want her picking the first hit she gets? I think the only answer anymore is for all of us to consider all of the answers. So I did go via Paris so I could meet this Robert Forreston. I actually met him at the Café des Arts, the one on Saint-Michel, if you know the chain. Ever since this guy was fired from teaching, he goes to the same cafe every day. He sits at the same table, he orders the same thing, and he scribbles the same angry letters to Le Monde newspaper about La Hoaxacaust. My title's 10 times better, right? So he was already there when I got there. I mean, it looks like this man has never ever left this place, but he tried to sound so busy. Your timing is lucky because I leave tomorrow for a very important conference. Okay, well, I appreciate you meeting me today then. Well then you can do something for me in return, huh? I want you to sign for me this letter. Maybe from a Jew in America they publish. Sorry, wait, what is this you want me to sign now? My latest proof, huh? I have finally made complete my study of the bricks from the gas chambers at Auschwitz. Auschwitz is exactly what David Irving sent me to talk to you about. But of course he did, because he knows, in America you are fed nothing but lies about this, huh? For example, do you know, right after the war, the Allies say 22 concentration camps have these gas chambers. 22! Oh mon Dieu! Today, they say, oh, oops, it was only 6. 22, 6. What happened to the other 16 chambers, huh? They poof, disappear. You're calling it the incredible shrinking Holocaust. Exactement! And I have dedicated mon vie to the study of these discrepancies, stories of chambres de gaz that have been changing for 70 years. No. I scrutinize everything. The orders for the work, oui. The invoices for the supplies, oui. The blue for the prints, no. Okay, for example, do you know these gas chamber doors had no locks? Boop. How could they be used for murder with doors with no locks? Do you know these same doors had no, seals to be made tight as air? Do you know that to ventilate these rooms after the use of this gas, that would require a technology that did not yet exist? And tell me this, how did they use a gas that is inflammable right next to a giant incinerator, and never one time did things go boom? Was the gas really flammable though? I mean, this is that Zyklon B we're talking about, right? Was that a flammable gas? Not all gas is flammable, right? I just want to make sure we're not making up shocking facts out of things that aren't really facts at all. Well then, I will tell you a fact about this gas, this Zyklon B. I have made extensive study of this, I have gone to Auschwitz and I have collected sample of brick from this gas chamber, and do you know, in my brick, there is not one single trace of any Zyklon B. Okay, so you studied a brick that's been, outside in the wind and the rain for 70-something years? I mean, couldn't any evidence that used to be on that be gone? So, if there is no evidence that this room was used with this gas, will you just believe it was used with gas? No! In your courts in America, there is no crime without first there is proof. What is their proof? Why do I have to prove this thing did not happen? Why do they not have to prove it did? Huh? Do you know how many times I have asked them, what is their proof? What is their proof of anything? First, I collected samples of human hair from the camps, and I sent them to hundreds of survivors with a very nice letter asking them, please prove that any of this hair used to be your hair. Can you believe that to these very nice letters I received no response? So then I collected samples of human bone from the camps, and I sent them to forensic scientists with another very nice letter asking them, please prove with DNA that these are bones of Jews. Can you believe that once again I received no response? Now, we will send my findings on this brick to every newspaper in the world, and you know what we are going to receive? No response? Oh shit, you think so again? Yes, because I've seen pictures of the gas chambers and the crematoria. Photographs! These cannot be faked. You are like someone who says, oh, I know Holocaust is real because I see Schindler's List. A film based on the book of fiction, by the way. This is not proof of a thing. Okay, but if there's really no proof there were gas chambers, like you say, why does everyone else say there were? Aha, because I say findings prove A, but some other scientist says, oh no, same findings prove B. It is the same as everything these days, huh? Is man making more warms the planet? Does less tax make more jobs? Do more refugees mean more violence, huh? In each case, people choose who they wish to believe, expert A or expert B, and they choose the ones they most wish to be true. What we must do, what your Rudy Giuliani says he will do, is change what most people wish to be true. Because on this they click. And the more people click on my findings, the more my page moves up onto Google, and the more my entry on Wikipedia gets the okay, and voila! My findings are now more true than those of Yad Vashem. No, you can make them more popular, sure, but you can't make something more true if it's not. Fake news is still fake at the end of the day. No. Fake news, this is only fake until most people say it's real. What most people wish to be true is true. In this way, Israel's new law against the Arabs, oh, it helps us very, very much. The more angry people get at Israel, the more they wish the truth to be mine. This is what I tried to tell my mom. This is why we can't use the Holocaust to discriminate against the Arabs or anyone else. It makes people want to be skeptical about it. It makes people want to not believe it. Exactement. People just like you. No. Oh, no. I am not out here hoping the whole thing is some big lie. I just want to be able to approach my politics, my mother, my boyfriend with facts, okay? Just dispassionate facts instead of tribalism. I just don't want my identity to be defined for me by some collective traumatic memory from the Jews on one side or any phony anti-Semitic post some Vladimir Putin puts on Facebook on the other. Monsieur Putin is actually a very intelligent man. You should meet him. Oh yeah, he knew Vladimir Putin. Apparently they met at a birthday party for Steven Seagal. And I guess Putin really liked Forreston's take on fake news and had just invited him to a certain summit in Finland where he thought his views might also interest another world leader. That's the very important conference he was really running off to the very next day. The Trump-Putin summit in Helsinki this summer. Oh yeah, I went with him. Look, I hesitated. Sure, I hesitated, especially when I thought I might have to meet Trump. But no, Forreston assured me, Trump never meets with anyone for purely educational purposes. And Putin, I know he's done some bad things, and I am pro-Pussy Riot, I am pro-Crimea, but let's face it, I've slept with worse guys on the strength of a shirtless horseback photo. Okay, at this point I was gonna miss Howard's wedding. But Vladimir Putin, that's like the one person even cooler than Howard is never gonna meet in his life, Howard would miss his own wedding if he had this chance. And I just felt too close to the truth to stop now, Like all I had left to figure out now was why and how. You know what I mean? If the numbers were inflated, if Hitler's intentions were somehow misstated, if the gas chambers were somehow, invented, well then what's the source of our confusion about the history, you know what I mean? Like, why would someone fake it and how did they do it? And who knows more about fake news than Vladimir Putin? And it was easier than you'd believe. Guys, it was so easy. The hardest part was that we needed like top-level White House press credentials, but Forreston got those real easy from a friend at InfoWars. After that, we just hopped a commercial flight to Helsinki. We literally Ubered to the presidential palace there. We waved our little badges in the air, and I was ushered to the presidential sauna, where I met Vladimir Putin in a towel. I hope you like the schwitz. I do, Mr. President. I take one once a week at the New York sports clubs. But there you've got to dodge some gropers. Oh, da. Homosexuality kept hidden. This is good. Oh, I don't want to make him sound homophobic. That's a little off topic. Oh, he's totally homophobic. Vladimir Putin is totally homophobic. But he was really nice to me, is my point. He even complimented my pecs. And you know what he's not, and we should put this out there right away. He is absolutely not anti-Semitic. He even contacted this organization called the Federation for Jewish Communities in Russia, and he had them pay for my entire hotel bill in Helsinki. He also had them reimburse the plane fare for my entire trip. He even eventually had them contact the Y about producing the show. So, I am hearing you have question about shadowy global conspiracy. On this topic, I am knowing nothing. Oh, I don't know. According to our American intelligence agencies, sir, you're actually quite an expert. Well, I cannot be confirming anyone else's opinion of my expertise in any particular area. Although it is gratifying to be acknowledged expert in many. Next question. Well, okay, so I've been hearing that the Holocaust might be exaggerated or even outright faked, and I just want to know from an expert in that sort of thing, like why or how that might even be possible. But the Russians are heroes of Holocaust story. Red Army liberates Auschwitz. Okay, so you do say there was an Auschwitz. Well, then again, we care little if there is Auschwitz here in Russia. We lost 25 million of our people in war. We care little for your Sikhs. But you do say 6 million Jews died in concentration camps like Auschwitz and intentionally in gas chambers? Oh, I do not say this. History books say this. Next question. Okay, but so everything I've heard on my trip can't add up if the Holocaust happened exactly like they say in the history books. So what else could have... I don't understand. Why would Butts and Irving and Forrest just what, make up all of their facts? Why would Jews make up Holocaust? That's what I'm asking you. Well, I am knowing nothing about anyone making up anything. But I can tell you what I read on Facebook. On Facebook, there are people who say Jews are inventing Holocaust to be creating Israel. There are people who say Zionist regime is illegitimate child of Holocaust myth. There are people who say Jews trick world into letting them declaring state unknown British and UN are struggling to divide because this Holocaust happens and world is suddenly letting Jews take it all. There are also people who post very funny videos of dogs. Wait, back up. No. The people who post about Israel being the reason the Holocaust was faked. Do you believe them? Are they right? Oh, Mark Zuckerberg says we must not be judging right or wrong what people are posting on Facebook. I don't understand. How would they have even done it? I mean, a conspiracy like that would have to be massive. Oh, Jews would have to be controlling global media and finance and every government in the world. Do they? Well, I am knowing nothing about controlling global media, but I can tell you what I read on Twitter. There are people who say fake media means Jewish controlled. There are people who say Jews are inventing fake news to be disguising their control. There are people who say fake news was invented 100 years ago in secret meeting between Jews and Satan. Wait, I'm sorry, did you just say Satan? Oh, I do not say Satan. Protocols of Elders of Zion say Satan. Wait, the protocols are you seriously quoting to me right now something like ancient propaganda pamphlet about Jews and the devil ruling the world? Written by Russians in 1905, and the Russian literature is greatest in the world. You ask me how Jews perpetrate possibly hoax. Protocols offer only possible supernatural explanation. Well, finally in that moment I realized how ridiculous everything I'd heard on my trip really was. Yeah, I know, it took me long enough. The thing is, Putin was absolutely right. In order for all of the deniers' arguments to add up, I mean, they really would have to be part of a plot so massive, it really would have to be supernatural, like in those protocols. Right? I mean, think about it, for Butts to be right, that the numbers were so dramatically inflated. Okay, that would mean millions of documents were forged and planted and unearthed on cue all over Europe, coordinated by what? Magical intervention? I mean, for Irving to be right, oh, Hitler never meant to kill all those Jews. Okay, that would mean not only were all of Hitler's public speeches mistranscribed, they were also all misremembered, along with all of the other Nazi speeches and their meeting minutes and their testimony. All misremembered and faked in concert through what? A mind meld? For Forreston to be right, there were never any gas chambers. Okay, that would just mean all the orders for the gas and the construction plans, and all of the guards' photographs, diaries, memoirs about them were all counterfeited to corroborate each other through what? One all-powerful publisher? No, guys, nothing in the deniers' arguments is remotely possible unless it's all part of an overarching satanic scheme. I mean, when Putin showed me that, I realized, oh yeah, believing the Holocaust didn't happen means believing in Satan, which means being insane. And I said so right to Putin's face. So this is where they are finally losing you? Satan was the step too far? Yeah, Satan's 1,000 steps too far. I mean, no one in his right mind can possibly believe the Holocaust didn't happen if that hinges on literally demonizing Jews. Oh, Barry, more people are believing it every day. You know, on Facebook, fake posts get average 13,000 shares. CNN article, 50. Believe me, Barry, when the world is angry at Israel, Jews in midnight graveyard deal with Satan would do big business on Breitbart. You know, why do you help spread fake stories? I am spreading nothing. You come to me calling Holocaust hoax. But if I do let some people forget this here or believe that there about Ukraine or Syria or Hillary Clinton, it would be very smart of me. Recalling Tower of Babel's story, Barry, the more people are not understanding each other, not trusting each other, not trusting their press, not trusting their vote, the easier for God to be ruling them. But you're making a world where no one knows anymore what's true. I mean, that's really what you and Trump and Orban and Netanyahu are all doing. What, so you can rule people easier? I came to you thinking the Holocaust might be a hoax. Because you enable men like Butts and Irving and Forreston to fabricate completely fake facts and figures that obscure the rank anti-Semitism that's at the root of their theory, that it all depends on a mystical conspiracy led by the devil. No. I may have been dumb enough to follow them all this far down the rabbit hole, but one place I can tell you I will not go is hell. So that night in my hotel room, the floorboards opened and an imp crawled out. Oh yeah, he looked a lot like Beelzebub from my freshman year production of Dr. Faustus. Only this guy was not played by Jacob Horowitz, and I had not just blown him in the dressing room. He took me down under the floorboards with him. Into this sort of underground tunnel or a cave. I don't know, it was very stuffy, it was very disorienting. I kept hitting my head, first on pipes, but then eventually on rocks. Until this underground, cave opened up into some sort of a clearing. There was moonlight somehow coming from somewhere, and I could see we were in this sort of underground forest or a marsh outside of a cemetery. My devil guide just vanished, but then 11 other people came out of this forest to converge with me on this clearing in front of the cemetery gate. A clock somewhere chimed 11, and the gate swung open, and one by one, the 12 of us each walked through it towards the tomb, the main tomb? No, the only tomb, I think. And I found myself following them, knowing exactly what to do. Not by copying them, you understand. By instinct. Like this was in my blood. One by one, the 12 of us each knelt at the tomb. We touched it 3 times with our foreheads. We each said the Shema. And by the time I go last, that clock is chiming 12, and this blue metallic flame just bursts forth from the tomb, and we all hold hands around it as he rises with a serpent's tail, an octopus's middle, and the head of a cow. And his voice just rings out, "Greetings, heads of the 12 tribes of Israel. We greet you, son of the accursed." Good. Good. Well, when 100 years ago this synod last convened, I instructed the leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel to implement my plan to rule the world. I further decreed the leaders of the 12 tribes must send me their grandchildren in 100 years to report on their progress. You are those grandchildren. What will you report to me? Menashe, yes, Satan, your grandfather was tasked with seeing Jews infiltrate the global media. Is it done? It is as you ordered, son of the accursed. Good. Good. Naphtali, yes, Satan, your grandfather was tasked with placing Jews at the head of global medicine, law, and finance. It's done, son of the accursed. Wonderful work. Dan, yes, Satan, Dan, your grandfather was tasked with achieving Jewish dominion over the markets of wine and beer. We've done it, Satan. It's called Manischewitz. Sorry, hold up. I'm very new to the group. Dan, was Manischewitz really supposed to corner the market? Levi. It's Levi. It's Levi. Some people say Levi, we've always said Levi, but it's Levi, son of the Levi who founded the Levites. I know who you are. Oh, I've been watching you. Since your grandfather was tasked with spreading stories of gassings and ovens. Oh, holy shit, that was true. What Gramps told the Shoah people was true? Has it happened? Has the hoax taken hold? Have they given me Israel? Can I ascend in Jerusalem? Israel's yours. Jerusalem, great news, progress this summer. There was this embassy move, and fuck progress! Jerusalem must never be divided. When you're back above ground, you tell Kushner to call me. Believe this. We really were created by the devil to do your work on earth? Oh, someone sounds upset about it now. Isn't this what you wanted? For the Holocaust never to have happened? Oh. Well, yeah, I did want it to not be such a big deal. And I wanted to get to choose my own identity. I did not want to be spawned by Satan. Well, you got 2 out of 3. I'm gonna go. I kind of think the world needs to know about this. Oh no! I'd keep quiet about it if I were you, little Levi. Oh, there may not have been a Holocaust of the Jews before. But oh, imagine what might happen once that word got out. That clock chimed 1, and Satan just dismissed us all with instructions that we send our grandchildren back to him in 100 more years to report on our next phase. Annihilating the Arabs. And just like that, I was back in my hotel. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if hearing all of that upset you as much as living it upset me. But it's heavy. I mean, that's hard to hear. If you're Jewish especially. I mean that you're satanic. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Although the good news is the Holocaust never happened. So back in my hotel room, I just kept thinking, holy shit, if I'm going to hell, apparently no matter what I do, why do I want to spend the rest of my life yoked to an identity I don't want that's based on a lie? I don't, right? So in the morning, I went straight back to Putin. Yeah, fuck Satan. I told Putin everything that I'd seen. I told him the protocols are real, and I asked for his help in getting the word out so Jews everywhere could know we don't have to be a part of it anymore. You know, we don't have to hold ourselves separate from everybody or defend Israeli policies or feel victimized by attacks that never even happened. Putin looked really confused, but he did say that if I wanted to spread this around, he wasn't going to stop me. And in fact, he said he would pay for and produce this entire show if I promised to do it before the election. Then that Federation for Jewish Communities in Russia, they called the Y here, and David and Ernit, who run the theater, said, we may as well have one actually Jewish show in the season. So here we all are. And just in case, I don't know, in case anyone's doubting my artistic integrity or truthfulness right around now. Oh, I don't know, because I'm working with Putin maybe? Or because I dare defy Satan? Let me just say, no. Actually exposing these truths with you here tonight comes at great personal cost. I mean, I basically don't have a family anymore. My brother cut off contact when I missed his wedding. My mom sure hasn't called since I sent her the first draft of this thing. And then Anthony, no, I talked to Anthony. Yeah, as soon as I got back from Helsinki, I caught Anthony up on everything that had happened. Barry, tell me you are kidding me with this bullshit. But Anthony, I thought you wanted me to stop being such a victim. Yeah, but I did not want you to stop being Kanye West. This is how they keep us from empathizing with other people like you said, or from criticizing Israel. They make us believe in this Holocaust. Barry, can't you empathize with other people and believe in the Holocaust at the same time? No, you can't. I tried. That's how this whole thing started. But Barry, okay. What do your denier friends say about the Nuremberg testimony? Coerced. And all the photographs? Faked. In 1945, didn't they have movies in 45? With special effects? Of course they could fake some photographs. Oh, Barry, you know what's faked? Those protocols you say are about the devil and your grandfather. Okay, those are a plagiarized mashup of 2 old books that were never even about Jews in the first place. Oh, wow, Anthony, who filled you with all those facts? Wikipedia? Yeah, Barry, yeah, I did some research when I got your local emails. Like, you know your buddy Thorson? He had a protege who went to Auschwitz to recreate all his boss's experiments, and guess what? He refutes everything Forreston says about those gas chambers. Okay, great example, Anthony. Thank you very much. Forreston says A, protege says B. Just like there are people who say Hitler ordered genocide, there are people who say he did it. How can we ever really know? We know from something called the Wannsee Protocol. We know from Eichmann's diaries. We know because Hitler said, if they refuse to go voluntarily, I see no solution except extermination. Oh, David Irving says that's a mistranslation. He actually said relocation. Barry, a British judge, says David Irving is a lying Holocaust denier. I saw the movie. Movies aren't proof of anything, Anthony. And you have to admit, the numbers could be completely made up out of nowhere. No, Barry, when you say that shit, you need to prove it. No, I don't. I don't have to prove anything did not happen. You have to prove it did. But Barry, if you won't accept for your proof photographs, or eyewitnesses, or diaries, or memoirs, or speeches, or censuses, or camp records, or kill reports, or blueprints, or invoices, or work orders, or forensic analysis, or testimony, or court verdicts, or international commissions, Barry, what proof will you accept? I put great stock in the confession of Satan. Okay, Barry, no, goodbye. No, Anthony, no, don't go. I haven't explained it to you well enough yet. Their side of the story. No, they have no side of the story. Barry, there's truth and there's lies. There's no side of the story that America never had slavery. There's no side of the story that the earth is flat, or it ain't getting hotter, or humans and dinosaurs coexisted on it, or Obama was born in Kenya, or immigrants commit more crimes, or Sandy Hook was staged, or those Parkland kids are actors, or 3,000 people didn't die in Puerto Rico. Or the Sharia law in Birmingham, or white genocide in South Africa, or 9/11 was an inside job. Barry, when you say all that shit, you say shit that is not true. You do not get to debate shit that is not true. You don't get to teach it, or preach it, or do obnoxious self-serving little monologues about it. I don't want to be with someone racist against Jews any more than I wanted to be with someone racist against Arabs. This is over. Anthony, I did this for us. So I wouldn't be such a big victim anymore. I don't have to be Jewish now. Anthony, please come back. He didn't get it. But you do, right? I mean, you understand what a good thing this is, that the Holocaust never happened? I mean, I know it's hard. Yes, it's hard. It's hard to relearn what you know, reassess your identity, resign yourself to eternal damnation. It's hard. What can I say? If you want it easy, you should have gone to Yiddish Fiddler. You could have, stayed ignorant, snug in your seats at some safer play, applauding your sentimental story of survival. Well, you still can if you want. Stay ignorant, I mean. Just pretend nothing I told you tonight really happened. Putin didn't really fund this. I never really met him. Oh, I never really interviewed Satan. I mean, hey, for that matter, maybe I never interviewed anyone. Maybe I never left New York. Maybe I don't have a brother. Or some lover, Anthony? Come on, guys, please. Maybe nothing I told you tonight is true. It's not so easy telling truth from lies. It's okay, you're susceptible. Everybody is susceptible. But go ahead, dismiss me. The thing is, then you'll lose. Because I am real, and more people believe what I do every day. And we have facts, and we have figures, and we post them, and we publish, and we get retweeted by the President of the United States to 20 million followers. Oh, and why, yes, our facts are different from the ones you vaguely remember from high school. But you know what? They are just as convincing to the people who want to believe them. And every refugee you turn away, every protester you shoot, every deplorable you hold separate, saying, oh, no, ours was a Holocaust. You just make more and more of me. More and more people working to change what's true. You can shake your head. You can tell me I'm wrong, but unless you can tell me how you determine the number of dead, the intentionality of the killings, and the engineering of those gas chambers, you will lose. To those of you I have reached here tonight, you're welcome. I know you're leaving here with lighter hearts. Yeah, you're free. Try explaining that to your cranky neighbor on the way out if they're still on the fence. Or you know what, they're welcome to come talk to me. That's right, I plan to see each and every one of you individually after the show. Yeah, I don't necessarily mean tonight. I don't even necessarily mean I will look like me. Hell, I could look like anyone. But these days, you'll see me. You will hear from me. You will have your opportunity to respond. What will you say?